Some of the social difficulties that people might have who are eligible under autism would be, we look at poor eye contact. Really, what you want to know there, sometimes we overthink that. What you really want to know is the person attending to me.
Right.
And so we look at that. Facial expressions and gestures tell us a lot. They add a lot to our communication. I don't have the statistics off the top of my head, but we speak a lot with our expressions, our body language, our gestures. And so those are often impaired in folks with autism. Failure to develop peer relationships appropriate to developmental level. A lot of these kids, they struggle with having friends, being able to interact appropriately with their friends. It's a hard thing for a lot of our kids, and they need a lot of support and help in that area.
And you'll find that a lot of these youngsters may have adults that they consider their friends. They don't seek out co-level peers, and they don't seek out smaller, younger children very often either, because the younger the child, the more unpredictable they are. And persons with autism, even though they may not say it, they kind of like to have a plan, and they kind of like to know what the expectation is and what they can expect from you. And so they tend to gravitate toward adult figures.
You might have a kid with autism who says, Joni's my friend, and, well, why is Joni your friend? Because I sit next to Joni. They really don't have a concept often of what is entailed in a friendship.
Right. There's sometimes a lack of seeking to share enjoyment. One of the cornerstones of looking for, if you have a concern about autism, is joint attention and pointing. And if those of you who have been around young babies, they don't have to be very many weeks old for you to have something sparkly or shaky or interesting to shake across in front of a youngster's face, and you kind of see this jerky eye contact, watching it go across, or turning to a noise or whatever. And if a youngster does not do that, it doesn't mean they have autism, but it's like a little file to go, there might be a possible concern. Check the concern box on that, because, if there's not joint attention, there's an issue.
Let me give you a little example of joint attention. I was out at a school doing a consult, and there was a girl, third grade, say, who was going into the regular education classroom quite a little bit in order to model what the typically developing kids were doing. That was the premise. That was the idea of why they wanted this kid in the regular ed classroom. Well, we took the little girl outside to play, and I had been observing this all day, and we had another little friend go out with her. She totally ignored the other little friend. They were doing separate activities. There was no joint attention. There was not any joint attention means two people engaging or looking at the same thing. I might say, look, Joni, I've got a glass of water. And Joni looks at it and I look at it. We share attention. That was not happening in this setting. The little girl went over to some old dead dried leaves, the little girl with autism, and started just shredding them and watching them fall. And our little typically developing friend, without being instructed, went over and did the same thing. She started doing the same thing. There started to be a little bit of joint attention happening there. But that should have happened when this child was not even a year old yet, in third grade. So this child was not able to benefit from looking at what other people were doing and doing the same thing, because the child had not developed joint attention yet. Huge red flag. If that's not developing, there's a problem.
Right. The same thing with pointing. If you have a youngster, usually moon. Oh, look, Terry, the moon. See?
Right. And then we've got joint attention.
And then I'm looking past your finger up into the sky at the moon. But a lot of times kids with autism will be looking at my mouth as it moves, or they'll be looking at my face, and I'll be pointing to the moon, and there won't be any joining me to that. And then your lack of social or emotional reciprocity, the give and take, the turn taking, knowing how to play a game. Even in our conversation, like Terry and I today, well, Terry, why don't you tell about this? Or Joni, why don't you tell them about this? You will not find that as a natural thing of reciprocity in persons with autism. They either want to talk about what they want to talk about, period, and then they're through talking to you, or you'll go, how was your night last night? Did you have fun at the movies? And they're like, yes, and that's it. There won't be any, what'd you do last night?